Oh, good.
Nope.
Well, then just mark then.
Just yeah, my family's coming over, so I gotta cook.
My prediction, many people will be disappointed.
Yeah,
I
they,
don't.
they always are. Yeah, and it's built that way because your favorite team's not in the Super Bowl, so there's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of sour grapes. And oh, my team would have done better, although our team wouldn't have done better.
Even the the ads that are coming out and everything, it doesn't seem like there's anything that's like, oh my gosh, we've got to see that. It's like for the last 5 years, I've been glued to the Super Bowl because it's like there's going to be a new Captain America trailer, there's going to be a new Star Wars trailer, there's going to be something. This year, it's like the Jungle Book. Okay, I love the Jungle Book, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have to see it. I'll catch it on YouTube.
They put it all on the internet anyway. Half the commercials are available before the Super Bowl, and the other half are available right after. So, unless you really love Coldplay, then there's really like no reason to watch,
Whole play, man.
or you like, the Panthers or the Broncos. I don't really care. I don't have a horse in this race. I mean, I'll probably have it on in the background while I cook or do something else, but I don't care this year.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna,
football really beat me down this season, I gotta
uh,
say.
well, because you're a Cowboy fan, that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
we're Cowboy fans, but look, I like Coldplay. I really do. I'm not gonna
oh
lie,
no,
and
I am too. I wasn't
I,
making fun of them. I know it's cool to hate on them, but I don't care.
yeah,
Like,
I
I'm
like
gonna
them.
hate on Billy Joel for some reason right now. I fucking love Billy Joe, but it's just I don't love them enough to sit through the first half of a game I don't care about and be like rapt
Okay,
about
I
it.
I do. I'm a
No.
big I'm a big Billy Joel. But here's the thing: both Billy Joel and Coldplay, they when you hear their names, there's nothing football about them, and that's what's been
Well,
going on
neither
with.
was like Madonna, and she was
And
there.
no, and it was
I'm like,
horrible. It was
yeah,
boring.
it really wasn't that great. And
Katy
one,
Perry,
they ever since Janet Jackson, they've been playing it really safe with
because of her
the,
booby.
yeah, black
I don't,
booby. Oh no, can't
I don't
have
know.
that.
Like last year, the Katy Perry thing and the whole like left shark thing. Like, come on, left shark was like the best part of the Super Bowl.
Right, and that was unintentionally funny.
I know.
Yeah,
So,
they.
but
I mean,
but you know what?
even she was tame compared to what she normally does.
Yes.
They it's ironic in my mind that they try so hard to make this halftime show so super safe and family friendly when they themselves are like terrible about like their record on everything else that's moral, like domestic abuse or and stuff like that, is atrocious. It's just, stop insulting us. I mean, if you want to put Keisha half naked in there, then just do it. Who cares? Don't try and pretend to be all like, paragons of virtue here. We know better.
My problem is that none of that music reflects the NFL or its fan. I just
So
it
what
doesn't.
what so what are they supposed to put then? Like
Oh,
Arizona
Metallica, man.
or something? I mean,
Get me some
I don't.
Metallica. Or you know what? You want to be edgy? Get NWA Unfiltered,
Oh,
right there.
jeez.
Well, you can't have a true reunion, but still, or Ice T, just and let it rip. Or
Pe-
Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden. There's plenty more bands that scream NFL and all that stuff. It doesn't. Having said that, though, the Bruno Mars halftime thing was actually pretty spectacular.
People freak out because Cam Newton celebrates too much, and you think that we can have NWA as
Yeah, I
a
was like,
halftime
he
show?
celebrates
Like,
while being black, and people freak out, and you want
no.
you
But
want.
but that's what I'm saying. If you want to be edgy, if you want to represent the NFL, that's what you would
No, the
have
NFL
on
does
there.
not want to be edgy.
It
They
does
they
not
do
And
want to be
not.
edgy.
I
It's got
know.
they've got to appeal to the widest swath of people from,
That don't include black people or women.
yeah, well,
Hey, Missy Elliott was on, and I think she was the best part of. Was it last year's halftime?
yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was her part was pretty cool. But
So, yeah, but since we've got limited time before we've got to go do Super Bowl stuff, let's actually talk about Doctor Who a little bit.
that's true. because I don't think our UK friends give a crap about the NFL.
Mm-mm.
Let's talk about cricket.
Yay, the Super Bowl. Like I care about the Super Bowl too. So anyway, um, we've actually, it was funny. I sent around like stuff we could talk about. We've got a ton of stuff that we could actually talk about. The first thing I wanted to talk about is we missed talking about this last week, and an idea that's been floated around of Catherine Tate as the Doctor in the next incarnation. And as much as we all love Donna, it feels like we need to talk about this for a couple minutes.
I think we didn't hear it because Melissa went dog whistle level in her squee. I'm pretty sure she loves this idea. She screams so hard that we can't hear her, but dogs everywhere are screaming. Uh, to me, this would be so good. I don't want her back as Donna Noble, but I want Donna Noble's face as the Doctor. And I spoke to you about this, Andy, that I think it would be a great idea to make the fires of Pompeii. Uh, was it the fires of Pompeii?
Yeah,
Was it?
Mhm.
Fires of
Okay,
Pompeii.
yeah. I think it would make the fires of Pompeii that much more of a pivotal episode because something would be tying the Doctor to that fixed point in time. And we already have Capaldi's face in Caesarius, right, with the current Doctor. And if we can use Donna Noble's face as the Doctor, that means there would be that fixed point in time holds a special significance that we can continue revisiting. And we, as you know, in our history, we're obsessed with Vesuvius and what happened in Pompeii. So it would actually work on so many levels because it's still of continued interest to us. And if the writers could somehow find a reason to make this one episode so important, and I'm pretty sure they can, it would be amazingly awesome to have Donna Noble show up as the next Doctor, tying into that episode, and Capaldi, and bringing in the Moffat and Russell T Davies eras all together with Chibnall's new era. It would work perfectly, and I hope the BBC is listening.
Yeah, Melissa.
I mean, I've always been very vocal about how Donna is my favorite one of all the companions. I know, they would have to do some crazy things in order to actually make Donna Noble the Doctor, which would not make any sense at all and would basically negate the entire ending of her thing. And Marco is right. I don't really want them to bring back Donna exactly. Especially Donna as she is now, because she's kind of gone back to being that kind of shrill, you know, person we met in Runaway Bride, which is not my favorite Donna iteration, obviously. So, yeah, we don't want to bring that version back. But, Catherine Tate is one of those actors that I've just always loved. I actually felt quite sad for her because she was on The Office for like the American version for
That's
like
true.
the last 2 years or so, and when it was just really not very good. And I mean, it's good for an actor to have like steady work, obviously. And the American TV series, that's really steady work because it's a lot of episodes on network. But I just felt bad that, you know, it this material just wasn't very good anymore. The show just wasn't very good. It would be nice to see her have something really great like this to do again. I I I don't know how exactly they would, have it happen, but I have faith that they'll figure out something that is appropriate, to bring her back, that won't make us kind of like, groan or like, oh God, is this, the but of course this would be under the new showrunner, and I think last week we all pretty much uh,
Torma Newman.
expressed our dismay and feelings of apprehension about this. But if he could pull this off, then I would be in his corner.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Well, I mean, I think technically for them to write it in, it doesn't make it any harder than they did with having Capaldi's face in there. I mean, all it takes is after the regeneration, he says, "This face, I understand." Like, and it kind of goes back to when the war doctor is talking to um, uh, 10 and 11, and he's like, the one who regrets and the one who forgets. And, the doctor still needs to remember all of that he's about saving people. And to see Donna's face constantly and to be speaking in Donna's voice will always be that constant reminder that that's his mission and that's what he's supposed to do. So I think it's a really great way, like Mark said, to tie that all in together and move it into a completely different era too. And I think we'd get a very different doctor. We could get a doctor who we know is very good with the comedy and could deliver those funny lines, but could also be very serious. And Donna's character arc, where she ends up in some very dark places, especially in the Turn Left episode. Catherine Tate showed a lot of range as an actress, and I would love to see that brought to the Doctor. So I think that's a great fan theory. We would all be so lucky if that's who it actually is. It's probably going to be another dude, but you know, we can think about it and we can say, wouldn't it be nice? So
This is the BBC's chance to, go balls out or play it safe. And we're going to find out which one of those they're going to choose. And I hope they don't give in to past history and just play things safe, and go low production. And I mean, this is going to be a big moment for the BBC and for Doctor Who. So we'll see where they take it. But this is an incredible opportunity. I think they should take. They really should take this opportunity. But we'll see. We'll see what they do.
yeah. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been playing a lot of the video game Lego Dimensions, and we got it for Christmas, and it's it's a really great game. Let me describe kind of what this is for people who are unfamiliar with the Lego video game idea. It's your Lego versions of the characters you know from all these different universes. It started with Lego Star Wars, then there was Lego Harry Potter. Now they're doing Lego Jurassic Park and Lego basically everything. Lego Avengers just came out, and we've been playing that too. And you start off with kind of your basic stable of characters, of the basic characters, and as you go through the levels, you unlock more and more characters who then each have their own special abilities. Some people can jump higher. Some people have like different kinds of firepower that blow up different kinds of barriers, et cetera, et cetera. Some know how to solve puzzles so that you can open up secret areas. And you go through the main narrative story arc of the game, and then you go back into each of these levels in a free play mode, and you're supposed to discover all of the hidden secrets in each of these levels. Lego Dimensions takes the same idea that exists in the Lego movie, that all of the Lego worlds are interconnected with one another, and throws all of those worlds together in a big story arc about trying to keep the Lego universe together. So you start off with your main characters are Batman, Wildstyle, and Gandalf. Uh, to basically pay
That sounds
homage.
awesome.
Yeah, to start with kind of the basics from the Lego movie. And this is cool. Batman, instead of being Will Arnett, is actually Kevin Conroy from the Batman animated series,
Yeah,
which, like, I love Will Arnett, and I think he did a great job as Batman.
darkness.
But, but Kevin Conroy as Batman, I'm never going to say no to that. So that's great. And Elizabeth Banks is Wildstyle, and that works. So in this game, instead of as you go through the levels, you unlock different characters. What you actually have to do is you have to go and buy the toys, which is a genius move on Lego's part. But then as you buy the toys, you also unlock each of their individual worlds. So there's an entire time travel uh, adventure that you can do with Doc Brown and Marty McFly. There's an entire Doctor Who level that you unlock when you buy the Doctor Who 12th Doctor figure. And then once you've played through the Doctor Who level, you can take that 12th Doctor and you can turn him into any of the other 12 Doctors, which is,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's really fun. And they've got Capaldi's voice in it. So this is what I wanted to talk about. We've been playing a ton with, uh, so far we've got Capaldi's Doctor, who comes with K9, and K9, as stupid as he is in the show,
No, he's not. Uh,
he's so overpowered.
I hate you.
He's so, well, as my son would say, he's so OP in this game. K9 kicks all sorts of butt in the Lego Dimensions
Oh,
world.
nice.
He can blow up stuff. He's super fast. You like jump on him and ride him and fly around and like when you're fighting Daleks and Superman and Cybermen, there's nothing better than to just jump on K9 and blow all of them up. Um, uh, there's also a pack that where you get a Cyberman and a Dalek, and that's been pretty fun. No companion characters yet. I'm waiting for that. That'll be a lot of fun when they get to them. But we've been playing with this. The interactions that you get with the Doctor and other characters are also priceless. So they just came out with a Ghostbusters set, and you're Peter Venkman, and it's actually Bill Murray's voice. And if you get the two of them like on screen with one another, Capaldi's like, "Who are you going to call? Hopefully a dry cleaner in that outfit." Like, and, wah, wah. So there's all sorts of crazy funny stuff like that. As you when you've unlocked it and you can cycle through the other doctors, most of them don't have a lot that they say. Like Capaldi has like a bunch of dialogue. Most of the other ones have like one line that they say as they regenerate, and it's actually really funny. If you kill your little Lego avatar, it actually does like the regeneration thing, and he becomes the next Doctor. So Capaldi turns into the first Doctor, and
Oh, wow.
second Doctor, and so
It
on and so forth.
recycles.
Yeah, so you can cycle through them, and it's you can also change them. Like there's a mechanic where you can choose whichever one you want, um, but none of them really have more than one line other than Capaldi. It's just a lot of fun though, and even for my kids who are not really that into Doctor Who, they've had a great time and they love K9. He's their absolute favorite. So it's great.
Because K9 is awesome, that's why.
I guess I don't know. I mean,
Peter.
I've only seen two episodes with him, and I'm just like, why do we have a robot dog? I don't get this.
He was cool, man. I
Okay.
remember I remember really liking him when I was a kid because he would show up with Tom Baker. I remember really, really liking K9. I wanted my own K9. I mean, as an adult now, it does all seem kind of silly, but I still like him.
Well, he's totally got kid appeal. I get that, and he's certainly better than the stupid Daggets on Battlestar Galactica. So,
Yes.
in the realm of robot dogs in sci-fi shows, K9 is probably the best.
He shoots lasers from his mouth. Come on, man.
Yep,
You can't beat that.
those lasers are super powerful in the
They
laser
are.
game. So, it's great. You can have six characters on at a time. Our current favorite lineup is uh, you get the Doctor, Peter Venkman, Owen Grady from Jurassic World, and Emmett. So we have double Chris Pratt, and then Wonder Woman and Chell from Portal 2.
Huh.
That's like the best lineup. It's so good because Between those six, you basically have all of the different powers and puzzle solving skills that you need. Um, and then you just throw on like K9 or the TARDIS every once in a while to like do random stuff. So it's
Cool.
good times. Yeah, way good times if you're into the Lego games and you're into collecting Legos like we are, it's good. And if you use the Target Cartwheel app, um, right now you can download a coupon on that app that is half off of all of the main sets. So they're normally they're normally like $15 a piece, but at like 750 that makes them way more affordable. So it's worth downloading the Target Cartwheel app on your phone and getting that coupon just for the Lego Dimensions things. And if you buy a bunch of other stuff at Target like we normally do, it's also good because there's a bunch of other coupons that you can get as well. So
Cool.
totally worth it. That's my pitch for Lego Dimensions.
They owe you money, man.
They should. It's great. It's really awesome. And when it first came out at Christmas, I'm like, okay, this is good. It's like a decent Lego-ish game. And then as we've bought more sets and we've basically been collecting like one every other week or so and expanding it, it's just gotten infinitely more fun. So
I wanted to get that for the library, but my teens aren't into that. They're like Melissa. They're not into Legos.
that's okay. You don't have to be into Legos. Our, my
Can't be in everything.
That's
no,
true.
that's
That's what I hate about supposed geek culture these days. They're into every. There's so many things you're
Yeah.
supposed to be into that it's like, do you have a job? You know, like how could you possibly have read all of those, watched all of those movies and TV? I mean, it's impossible.
Because they
It's
live with mom and dad.
impossible. Yeah, I guess, not to reinforce geek stereotypes or anything, but yeah.
well,
That one's totally apropos, though.
some of those stereotypes are warranted, like people who run troll websites who think that rape should be legal when
Ugh.
Jeez.
you're
Oh,
living in your mom's basement. That's hilarious
yeah.
and awesome. But Melissa,
Mhm.
speaking of going to see movies that we're not able to keep up with, you saw Pride and Prejudice and Zombies,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
we wanted to talk about that.
Yes, well, this is Doctor Who related
It
because
is.
it does have Matt Smith in there. And he's back to Matt Smith. He's not Matthew Smith like he was in the Terminator. Uh, I believe yeah, it was Matthew, right? In the opening credits for the
Yeah.
Terminator movie. Yeah.
Screen
He's
Actors Guild, blame them.
he's back to just being Matt again. But this movie, like, I didn't know what to expect. It's based on the book of the same name, which is based on Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And I wasn't sure because, sometimes a perfectly good book, and I don't want to call it a parody of Pride and Prejudice because it's not quite that, but it's just kind of a riff on it that brings it into the horror genre.
It seemed to me like it was basically Pride and Prejudice, and
Hmm.
then like they're sitting out there and Mr. Darcy is like saying something very heartfelt, and then zombies would come out and attack, and like that's all it was. But it was basically Pride and Prejudice, and like every like 10-15 pages there was a zombie attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie is a little different. It's sort of like that, but they um they changed the fates of a few people in there. I'll
Hmm.
just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Um, but again, I wasn't really sure what to expect. But the movie doesn't take itself seriously at all, which is perfect because sometimes they try to take it themselves seriously when you're not supposed to. Um, it has a really great cast actually. There's a lot of good people besides just Matt Smith. There's I hope I'm saying her name right from Game of Thrones, Lena Headey. Is that how you say her name, Lena Headey?
Yeah,
Lena.
Lena, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Cersei from Game of Thrones, she's in there as Lady Catherine de Bourgh, who, if you've read the books, and most people had to read this in high school, even if they didn't want to, whether they remember it or not is another thing altogether. Um, she's completely different from the Jane Austen one because she's a warrior. Because you got it,
Oh,
yeah, she's a really badass, the most famous zombie hunter in all of England, and
oh, that's cool.
yeah, and she still has Rosings Park, and it's like a secure compound, basically zombie free. Um, she's still a little kind of upper crust, uppity type of person. She's got the, she expects to get what she wants, but she's not, a lady of leisure like in the book. So that's one thing I really loved. And even and another Game of Thrones guy, Charles Dance, who of course played Tywin Lannister, only he played Mr. Bennett, so he's a good guy, and it was very
Ah,
strange. It was
I don't
very
see him
strange
as
to,
Mr. Bennett.
yeah, you don't, but he has this benevolent, wonderful father to Elizabeth Bennet, who's the protagonist, of course. It's at first you're like, what, but it kind of works. I gotta say, it kind of works. But the best part really was, and not just because I love number 11, as y'all know, but Matt Smith really to me was the best part. He played Mr. Collins, who in the books is uh,
A
adult, to
cousin.
put it kindly. He's the cousin of Elizabeth Bennet, who tries to propose to her. He's become a pastor. He kisses Lady Catherine de Bourgh's butt constantly, and he's just kind of unlikable. And they didn't change that at all, but they made him funny. He was like the biggest comic relief. He was the biggest source of levity throughout the film. Um, he just plays comedy so well. He can just do it. He's and even the physical comedy. There was some physical things in there too. Some dancing that was atrocious, but in a really great way. Honestly, if he hadn't been in there, I might not have laughed. Some of the other jokes fall a little flat. Some of the things they sort of, you can tell they expected it to be funny, but didn't quite hit. It was an uneven movie, but Matt Smith really was the best part of it in my mind. He was fantastic, and so if you're a fan of Doctor Number 11, then I would say go see it just for him.
We tried to go see this yesterday and it didn't happen for a number of reasons. I had completely forgotten that Matt Smith was in this. I just wanted to go see it because it was Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Yeah.
I kind of like Pride and Prejudice. I think I'm secure enough in my own masculinity.
Oh, I don't kind of like it. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is a great book. Yeah, no, I don't know why guys feel like, it's just a chick type of lit or something, like one of the earliest forms of chick lit or something. It's a great book, and I think if you like zombies, if you like Pride and Prejudice, or if you're like me and you like both, yeah, you're gonna have a good time. It was a great way to spend think it was about an hour and 45 minutes long. Um, and Matt Smith to me just really made the movie. And again, not saying that just because he's my favorite Doctor. He really did. And he didn't show up till more than a third of the way through the movie, but it I mean, it was just fantastic. It was exactly what the movie needed at that point. And Lily James was really good in it too, by the way. I didn't like the guy who played Mr. Darcy at all. That's just a personal opinion. Maybe y'all don't care, you wouldn't care, but just something about him. I
Who
don't
was
know what
that?
it was. It's this guy named Sam Riley, and I don't know what else he's been in. The
I recognize his face.
But I just didn't really care for him. I thought he was miscast. He also has weird kind of rat-looking teeth that just really kind of freaked me out a little bit when on the rare occasion that he'd smile. Um, yeah, there's just something I didn't think he was well cast, but the rest of it is really well cast. All the sisters, Mr. Bingley is kind of dreamy, I gotta say.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's Mr. Wickham, well cast, being the secret cad. Yeah, just really really well done. I thought, and I'm surprised on I looked it up just to make sure I had the names of the actors right, because I'm terrible with names. And when I did, I think it had the rating on IMDb was like a 6 or something. And I'm surprised. I would say this is a solid 7.5 or an 8
Not
in my
bad.
mind.
Not bad.
I
That's
mean, it's
great.
a genre movie. What you can't, you're not expecting like, Oscar level anything. Although there are enough white people in it to qualify for the Oscars, but it's but I mean, they're all white people. What are you gonna do? But
Yeah.
um, it. I just think 6 is way too low. I think it's a better movie than that. But I could see how some people are like, "What the hell?" Because it is a little strange.
It's odd that we're getting for Valentine's Day this year Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Deadpool. Like it's just it's like Hollywood has decided they're totally going to counter program Valentine's Day and like we're gonna give you yeah, we're gonna give you movies with romance, but they're gonna be like the weirdest genre romances you've ever seen. That being said, I have seen Deadpool, and I am now legally allowed to talk about it. We had an embargo through midnight last night, but now I can say it. I'm in the same realm as you are, like of 7.5 out of 10.
Hmm.
The best thing I could say about it, that's a Deadpool movie. If you're a fan of Deadpool, you're gonna like it. If you're kind of pool curious and think you
Poor
might
kids.
like a Deadpool movie, you'll probably like it. If you're not a fan of over the top violence and sex and swearing and ridiculousness and satire and breaking the fourth wall, you're not going to like it. But if you have the sensibilities of a 13-year-old boy when it comes to seeing movies, you will like this movie. So there you go. That's basically my review of Deadpool. I think it's great. What people should go see though is Hail Caesar, the new Coen Brothers movie. That is fantastic. It's an incredibly silly movie about very very deep things. They it's on one level it's a love letter to the golden age of Hollywood done by the Coens. On a second level, it is self-referential and kind of fan servicey to people who have been fans of the Coens for a long time. Lots of parallels to The Big Lebowski and Barton Fink and a lot of their other films that have come before. And then there's this third level where it's just this great exploration of uh, deep issues about the nature of man and the value of work and religious issues like faith and going through a crisis of faith and what that's like. And it's all told against a very silly backdrop of this this homage to Hollywood where you have 6 minute long song and dance numbers of Channing Tatum singing about how there's no dames out at sea, and
That sounds fun.
and big aquatic symphonies with Scarlett Johansson as a mermaid. Yeah, so and it's just great. It's really great. If you're a fan of the Coens, you have to see it. If you're a fan of old Hollywood, you'll love it. Um, I think for a lot of kind of pedestrians, though, it might be a little bit, maybe a little too weird. So your mileage may vary when it comes to it, but I loved it, and that's my big recommendation for the week is go see Hail Caesar.
I am gonna see Hail Caesar because I'm a Coen fan and I just have to watch everything they make. But that cast looks amazing, and I have to see. Usually with casts that good, it's kind of hit and miss, and sometimes it's really good, and sometimes you're thinking like, what the heck? Like Gods of Egypt. there's some good actors in that, and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what were these people thinking? So, I mean, I would watch something like that because I want to go in there thinking the cast is so good, this is going to be great, and I trust the Coens, or the cast is so good, and I want to know why they did this, and that's the only reason I'm watching this. But I definitely watch the Coen Brothers. Deadpool, I'm just not interested. I've never been a Deadpool fan. I don't get why people like Deadpool so much. I don't find it as funny as what a lot of people do. I just don't get it. But so I'm probably gonna skip on Deadpool for a while. But Hail Caesar, definitely want to watch that.
Yeah, I think there's two ways to take Deadpool. One is satire, that they they started Deadpool as a literal send up of Deathstroke and how ridiculous and violent he was. And so they're literally making fun of Slade Wilson by making their character Wade Wilson. And the fact that Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and understands he's in a comic book, or in this case, understands that he's in a movie, that's when the movie is really good. He makes many, many references in the film, understanding that they're in a franchise and like alludes to the fact that like there have been different people who have played Professor Xavier and um, he goes to the X-Men mansion and finds Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead and he's like, "Huh, every time I come here, it's only ever the two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford the rest of the X-Men to be in this movie." Like that's funny. But the other portion of people who like Deadpool are people who like violence and insanity and uh, you're gonna enjoy that too, but that's not me. I like it for being very biting commentary about like why that stuff is in comics and what that says. This seemed to almost be a more of a celebration than a satire sometimes, and so like I said, your mileage may vary, but I think all fans of Deadpool will like this. Non-fans will not particularly. But right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like at 100%. So
Mhm.
that's ridiculous. I'm really surprised actually that it's that high, but we'll see as more reviews come in. Um, we've only got a few more minutes here. We can talk about Moffat getting knighted, or we can talk about something else.
Well, it's about time, and we'll end it at that. He should have been knighted a long time ago, if only just for coupling, because it was that good. But I don't think we have anything more that's Doctor Who related.
No.
No,
Well, I guess we just say congratulations, Sir Stephen Moffat.
Sir Moffat. Yeah, he joins the ranks of Sir Paul McCartney
Yep. Well, wait.
and Elton John.
Yeah, yeah. And Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart and was
Yeah,
was, was
that's good
Alan
company.
knighted? Alan Rickman had to have been knighted, right?
I am not sure. I'll check right now real quick.
If he wasn't, he deserved to. Oh, that would make me sad if I found out that Alan Rickman was not Sir Alan Rickman. Oh well. Um,
Let's see. Oh, he rejected the knighthood. Oh wow. I guess it was offered, but he rejected.
Why?
uh, I will not be Sir Alan.
I'm so depressed.
That's awesome.
Marvin.
That's great. That actually makes me respect him even more. Is offered a knighthood and rejected it. That's super cool. Oh, one other thing that is Doctor Who related. I almost forgot about this. Um, does anyone know where Capaldi has been for the past few weeks?
Oh, you said that, but I had no idea he was doing that.
Yeah, I didn't know
I
that
didn't know
either.
this either. He's been in Jordan visiting with Syrian refugees. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, especially as much as Doctor Who has spent time in the last season dealing with issues like refugees and dealing with that, and boom, he's right there in the middle of it. That gives me so much respect for him. And I just think that's incredibly cool that he's doing that and that he's doing it like in Jordan, which I mean, if the violence is going to start spilling over any place,
It's gonna be
it's
there.
not going to be happening in Greece where a lot of the refugees are ending up, which is why they're going there. But yeah, Jordan, that's right next door. So um, way to go, Capaldi.
He's a good guy. He's a real good guy. I like him. I've always liked him for. He always does stuff like that though.
Yeah,
For the past year, he's been visiting hospitals, visiting terminally ill children. That's pretty cool. I like when actors do that because there's a lot of actors who don't, and they don't have to. You know, they have busy lives too. They have lives just like we do. But the fact that a lot of these take the time to do that, that sort of payback, Robert Downey Jr. does that all the time. So does Chris Evans, and they don't have to do this stuff. That's the thing that gets me. They really don't have to, and they don't do it to get recognized because a lot of them they go dressed incognito, and they don't really show themselves until they're inside the hospital.
I loved it a couple of years ago. Speaking of the Super Bowl, when Chris Pratt and Chris Evans had that
Oh,
dare,
the bet, yeah.
the bet, like whoever's team wins, the other person has to come visit the hospital in my city. And then they just both did it together anyway because they're
Yeah,
both
they did both hospitals.
yeah,
Even yeah, that was pretty awesome.
that is super awesome. It's
And they
it
went in costume and everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like you said, they don't have to, but they know that they can brighten some kid's life a ton by being there. I mean, I don't know how many people in Jordan know Doctor Who, but I just think that's cool that Capaldi's doing.
That is pretty cool.
Uh, let's give two really quick shout outs then to other things we're watching that we haven't talked about yet. Mark, you've caught up on Gotham, and we gotta just talk for 2 seconds about Agent Carter. Um,
Okay, Gotham's real easy. I caught up to it, and I give my 100% mark of approval. It's really good. It's not what you expect. It's basically an origin story of the city itself and how it got to the way it gets to when Batman's all grown up and becomes Batman. I love everything. It's so layered. There's lots of little stories going on at the same time. And the Penguin, it could easily become such a big joke, but it's worked very, very, very well. He's a pathetic nothing person, and he slowly manipulated his way to the top, not caring who he kills or steps over. But he's very protective about his mother. So there's a lot of nuance in this show. It's very good so far to where I'm at. I'm really glad I caught up to it. I'm sorry that I'm late to the game though. I should have started when it came up at first.
yeah, I thought the stuff with the proto Joker got
Oh,
really,
Jerome.
really good.
Yeah,
That was amazing. And then they really pulled that switcheroo on you, and it there was you got that massive payoff though when you started seeing like um, the how that inspired violence around the city,
everywhere. Yeah,
and which is the basic premise of Batman. Like he wants to be a symbol to inspire people because that's exactly what the villainy in the city has done. So
right.
yeah,
Very, very good show.
I've loved it.
Uh,
Agent Carter.
God, I love that show.
Oh
God,
my,
absolutely love that show. I would actually like to see Haley Atwell as the Doctor as well. So if we can get her to be the Doctor, that'd be kind of awesome. But the show is so good, and I'm not sure if people are watching, which is really taking
They're
me
really
off.
not. The ratings are not good, which
God,
is
I hate that.
sad. I was actually surprised it got a season two because the ratings weren't that great last season, and they're worse this season. So the only way this keeps going is if, you know, basically if Marvel steps in and asks ABC slash Disney to, like if they need to keep it for, because you know how the Marvel universe is all integrated, TV,
Right.
movies, everything.
mhm.
And it looks like they're bringing in possibly elements that could tie into some of the movies later. So hopefully for that reason alone, they'll keep it around another season because it's really awesome. I could see how a period piece, uh, with no superheroes in it could maybe be a hard sell for some. I think people want the spectacle, a lot of the more casual type of fans. Um, but they're missing out. If they're not watching it, they're really missing out. Haley Atwell is so awesome in this.
The only spectacle I need is Jarvis trying to do judo on a carpet and trying to chase a flamingo around. And oh, there's just that show was so great, and the entire through line that they're doing with this zero matter. I mean, it looks and acts a lot like either an Infinity Stone, like kind of like the ether from Thor: The Dark World, and a lot like whatever it is that's in that obelisk and the other stuff that Hydra is using to transport people into that other realm on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So my spidey sense is telling me that it plugs in someplace else, but I don't know exactly where. And the whole thing about this, I can't remember the name of the club that they had to infiltrate in this last episode that was only
It
old
starts with an
white
A.
guys. What was it?
It starts with an A, right?
Yeah. It's like the Atlas Club or something like that.
Something like that.
Um, yeah, anyway, uh, that to me says like maybe something like that still exists. And uh, there's multiple ways that this could go off, but what I really, really, really love the most about this show is its messaging, again, around feminism, around racial equality. I mean, the fact that they're willing to have uh, a black man and a white woman having romantic moments with one another is still kind of radical for network TV in 2015, and that's ridiculous. The fact that they're saying it's radical in 1952 is also really cool, and they're bringing that to the forefront, and the whole thing where, I mean, they literally turn him into the Invisible Man. I mean, if that it doesn't like just bonk you over the head with the subtlety of Thor's hammer, of symbolism, I don't know what else will. I mean, it's just so great, and I absolutely love what they're doing.
This
And
is
can
what
I?
I'm.
Oh, go
Sure,
ahead.
sure.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I interrupted you.
I just wanted to mention something. He brought up feminism, and let me just say, uh, I'm sure that if you put like, the Bechdel test or whatever to this, it wouldn't pass most of the time because you have to have two women having a conversation. And let's face it, Agent Carter works in a world dominated by men.
Yep.
Um, but this season they brought on Jarvis's wife, who is absolutely delightful.
She's
Love
great.
her. And there was a scene, and I was about to blow my top when I first saw this scene.
I
I
know what
think
you're
it was
talking
in,
about.
you know which one? Okay, it's the first or second episode of the season where they're fighting each other, Jarvis and Agent Carter, and she lands on top of him on accident, and of course Mrs. Jarvis just happens to appear right at that moment. And this is one of the worst tropes in movies and television because it's like, oh no, now people are going to get the wrong idea and the other woman's going to get jealous. And they could have gone that way, and I was afraid that that was where this was headed. And then Mrs. Jarvis was just kind of like, oh, did he try to show you this and this trick? And you know what I mean? She like totally knew what was going on. She didn't have to get like catty or jealous or start treating Peggy like crap because of it, which is what would normally happen like 99% of the time in movies and
Yeah.
television. Let's face it.
Yep.
Because when they put two women together, somehow they always want to go catfight because it's all male gaze and that's what men want apparently. Um, they didn't go that route here. These women, they genuinely like each other. Mrs. Jarvis, kind of a genius. She understands like everything way better than almost anyone else in the scene, it seems, whenever
Yeah.
she's there. She gets Peggy, she gets her husband, and I think she gets her husband's need to have that adventure, which we're seeing a lot more this season from Jarvis. I think she gets it all, and I love her for that. And the fact that they just didn't square these women off and make them catty over that one scene, it's so refreshing.
And
So refreshing.
in the same episode, Peggy discovers the ring that Sousa's going to use um, to propose, and like understands that like she's getting in between him and his fiance and how awkward that is, and you know really goes out of her way to be nice to her and to you know say like she's great and I hope you're happy together. Like understanding that there's this awkwardness, but not trying to insert herself in that. And and then going back in this last episode where you see she almost didn't go in to the Secret Service
Right, right.
because she was going to get married.
Hmm.
I
And
I love in this show. There's that line. There's a line of demarcations in the '60s where women are starting to finally say, "I've had enough of this crap." We're going to start to break free. Prior to that, it was we have to be the subservient wife. And back to what Melissa was saying, Jarvis's wife and Agent Carter are showing that line breaking, where she's still playing the part as the wife. She knows she's smarter, more clever than Jarvis, but she's gonna defer to him, to make him happy. But Agent Carter knows she's smarter and better than everybody else, and she tells them she's got no problem with this, which we saw on this last episode, this past week's episode. She had no problem saying that you're a fool to her boss. You're not good. Thanks for letting the Russian agent go.
yep.
She's throwing that in his face. So there is that line of demarcation, that blurred part of that showing in the show right now. And another thing I like about this show, and you mentioned the whole aspect of feminism, this past episode especially, we saw how women were essential in the war, after the war. The Bletchley Circle that we had no idea Agent Carter was a part of, that we now know she was a part of the Bletchley Circle. And people don't understand how important the Bletchley Circle was for the war movement.
Mm-hmm.
No idea, and she was a part of that. I love the way this show is using history to promote or to show the origins of feminism. And not only that, Whitney Frost.
Yeah.
We now know that she was pretty much Hedy Lamarr, an evil Hedy Lamarr, but she was Hedy Lamarr. And people don't understand how important Hedy Lamarr was to the U.S.
Yes.
in terms of code breaking and sending signals through radio airwaves. She was a freaking genius. And I'm so glad they went with that with Frost, because I think people are going to start being interested in stuff like this. They're going to start researching and find out, you know what? Women were always a part of this. They were so important. And guess what? A couple of days ago, the generals got together in the U.S. and said, oh, you know what? We need women to start signing up just like the men for the draft. So huge changes are happening. And what this show is showing us is the foundations of everything that led up to this point that we have now, which I totally love.
Yeah. I think that it's very brave. I think it's groundbreaking. And it seems like a great spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. People are like, oh, I'm learning about real history. I'm learning about real stuff. And it's like, yeah. And it's this kick-ass action show set in the Marvel universe. And yeah, I just love it. So, to recap, yes to Agent Carter, yes to Gotham, yes to Lego Dimensions, yes to Knighthood, yes to Hail Caesar, yes to Deadpool, yes to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So,
I guess we
that's
liked
a-
everything this week.
what's something we? Well, I guess we all hate the Super Bowl. Is what we all hate.
Uh, yeah.
They're just
Well, this
indifferent.
year, most years actually, yes.
I'm in it for the
Uh,
food, man.
Yep, bring on the food. And with that, we'll leave everyone to their Super Bowl preparations and fun. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to the folks at Big Shiny Robot who host the podcast, and we will see you all next time.
Cool.
bye bye.
Yep, and that's over.